Let's go.
Bro.
Let's go.
The podcast where we talk about the Los Angeles Chargers. Again, our favorite topic.
Yes, sir.
That was a bit of delayed reaction there for us. Come on, it's all good.
No, and I love it. So, again, as you guys all know, that I'm Andrew.
Yeah.
And I'm here with my co-hosts, James and Kyle. Say hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
Bros.
What up, bros?
And I got to get my sunglasses on, too.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, there you go.
What's up?
We're almost complete.
I got glasses.
James got his glasses, but they're not, quite bulky.
Yeah. We get some of these Bolt Bro ones. And by the way, we do have some other sunglass merch coming out as well too. I know Kyle and I were talking about quite a bit when we were out in Maui together.
Yep.
Enjoying some well-needed rest and relaxation out in Maui.
I know. Hey, you know what? We were just ahead of the curve, because Matt Mundy Smith, he's out there in Hawaii now.
That's right.
And then Chris Hare, he's going to be going out to Maui as well. So it's like, hey, we just ahead of the curve, baby. You know what's up,
We ahead
bro?
of the curve, guys. We ahead of the curve. That's what we do. They following us. They following us, guys.
Right.
I mean, that's what's happening.
They following our lead now. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome.
That's right.
Oh, I love it, guys.
Right.
Well, so let's talk about today's episode. We're going to keep the episode around an hour long, and we just want to kind of go through some breakout players of the year. We've been talking quite about this. And, guys, we all know that this is the offseason, right? This is probably the deadest time for football, period, right? So news, information, free agent pickups, things like that aren't really happening. But, again, we want to discuss – we have a chat thread with our Bolt Bros here. We continue to talk all day about the Chargers, our favorite topic, as you know. And we talked a lot about breakout players this year, and we just keep going back and forth. So we came up with 5 on the offense, 5 on the defense. And, these are our breakout picks for the year. People we think are going to have maybe bounce back years, but also, players we think are going to actually step up and really maybe hit their potential that we've discussed throughout their entire careers as a Charger. And so we want to talk about this too, but also we want you guys to give us your thoughts on breakout players for this year as well too. So put that in the chat there. We are monitoring it. We are watching it. And guys, we are 100% live, right?
Yep.
100% live right now too. So that works out well for us. So guys, what we want to talk about, offense or defense first? What are we thinking?
Hey, well,
chat, what do you guys think as well too?
I got a little something special for real quick too, though. Hey, I got the I can actually drop the title in here now. Check it out.
Okay, can you? Let's get it. That's good. Okay, looks like we got quite a few folks here in the chat thread. And again, guys, put your thoughts out there. Breakout players for the year. So, what are we thinking? Offense, defense first? What do you guys want to do?
Herb is saying defense.
Defense?
So,
defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Defense. All right. I like that. And again, one of the things that I will say, all right, so let's go defense, guys. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's roll with.
Can't go wrong with defense because we know what we're doing with this defense and how much we built this dang defense.
Let's show them the D, boys.
Show them the D.
All right, guys. So I think, look, here's the thing, man. And I'll preface this by this, right? We obviously know our defense was the worst piece of the puzzle for us last year, right? The funny thing, and I will say this before we start talking, Tom Telesco, I remember at the end of last season, he thought that, in fact, even Brandon Staley thought that our defense was actually going to be a strength this year or last year. And it just didn't happen, right? There was injuries. There was all these problems. I mean, there were so many games where, the defensive line was healthy, but the D-backs were not healthy across the board. I really think we did nothing but address all of those things, not only in the draft, but in free agency. So
right.
You're probably right. I would say defense is probably the most spicy conversation. So let's just go that route. So I like this.
Spicy.
Yeah, I like it. I like it spicy.
And I got a spaz.
So James, why don't you give us our first name on our list, guys? And guys, in the thread, right? In the chat thread, throw people out there that you think are going to be breakout players for us this year. We have our list of 5 on the offense and defense. But we want to hear what you want to think as well, too.
Yes.
Who do you want to talk about? Give us a reason why you like this person, why you want them to be a breakout player, why you think they're going to be a breakout player. So, James, give us a first name on our list.
First guy that comes to mind, actually, he was recently on the Drew Tranquil podcast, and it was kind of cool to be able to listen to his interview and kind of get his background and everything too. And my thoughts was after listening to that, I was like, man, I'm way more impressed about this guy. Not saying I wasn't last year. I was pretty excited about the pick, but Ahsante Samuel Jr. is kind of the guy that I'm looking at. I mean, his dad's a stud, and it's funny because his dad had a crazy amount of interceptions through his career, and he's not a Hall of Famer yet. He's about the same built size as Ahsante Samuel Jr., almost exactly a carbon copy. And having Ahsante Samuel out there, I mean, he was a stud. Remember that pick he did where he just stretched out against Mahomes and the Chiefs? And I mean, absolutely, he's got the agility and the quickness to be an extremely solid corner for us. So I'm not sure exactly where his position, if he's going to be kind of the guy, the nickel corner, he's going to be an actual starting corner, where he's really going to be at. And it'll be interesting to see where that all works with some of the other acquisitions that we brought in, even with Michael Davis still being in the mix too. And then I don't know where he's going to be at, but I look at it with J.C. Jackson being on the field, which once again, J.C. Jackson is going to be kind of that lockdown corner for us.
He will be.
Nobody's going to try to go towards him. So I look at it who's the other guys that are going to do something about it?
Exactly correct.
Make plays. So, I think Ahsante is one of those guys that just keep thinking that, even with his injuries and everything like that, played extremely well. The D-line did a great job, or at least this assumed D-line that we have is going to create a lot of opportunities for the backfield. So that's kind of where my head's at with Ahsante, that I think he's going to do well. And his dad, second year, did really well too. So all right, I guess I'm just looking at it getting in his feet wet in the NFL. He's going to end up doing big things for a second.
Well, and he needs to stay healthy too, right? So that was his 100%. Big problem last year. His injuries really held him back a lot, right? And that's really what hurt our defense in general. Go ahead, Kyle. What was your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I've been obviously a huge proponent of the second year slump for the sophomore players and stuff, and so obviously that is Ahsante Samuel second year. But I think you bring up a really good point, the fact that no one's going to try and throw to J.C. Jackson. So they're going to give Ahsante Samuel a lot more opportunities to shine. And so we'll see. I think that's going to be a really big point as to why he's going to actually have to step up and actually dominate this year.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and I think a lot of people think he's probably going to play the slot, right? So, and again, it's very clear what the defense scheme most likely will be this year. It'll be a 5-1-5, right? So there's been all these different discussion points around how we're going to play defense. But I do think Ahsante Samuel's a good pick. Look, here's the thing. He has all the talent, right? We saw what he could do. Again, it's going to boil down to staying healthy, right? We were one of the worst defenses last year, and it was largely because of injuries beyond what we saw, right? So, look, I think Ahsante Samuel will be fantastic. Yeah. I think a second year in this system, because this system's complicated, guys. Let's make it very clear. This is not an easy system to learn, right? If, again, there's just so many different things you have to know. If this happens, you got to go this way. If this happens, you got to go that way. And plus, Ahsante, he's not a big guy either, right? He's not huge. So taking some hits from some of these big running backs, took a toll on him, and I think that's where he got a couple of his concussions, if I remember correctly. So, I think that's going to be a big part of it, right? I see a lot of people in the chat that are talking about K9, and so hey, stay tuned. We'll see if he's on our list, But no, this is good. This is good. So, all right, I'm gonna bring up the next guy that I think is going to do pretty well on the defensive side, and then maybe we'll go to Kyle first and see what his thoughts are.
Yeah. Sure.
Sebastian Joseph Day. Right. SJD.
Sebastian Joseph Day is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he was having a great year before he got hurt last year.
Oh,
right?
He just won a Super Bowl. So.
Yeah. Well, he did, of course. Yeah. I mean, it was a great year. About as good as you can get.
That's right. As the best gear you can get right there.
Yeah. But, and I think it's interesting strategically how the Chargers coaching staff have picked up players that know Brandon Staley's offense. Because, look, it's not easy to learn, right? And so the fact that you go get some guys that performed well, and again, you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the best defensive lineman. You just cannot be a weak spot, right? And that's the whole point. And Sebastian Joseph Day, he's a big guy, huge body,
right,
great personality, absolutely has all the talent in the world. He works his ass off all the time. So I think he could be an excellent bounce back player for next year. And again, if he had stayed healthy, he would have been an amazing player last year. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts?
Sebastian Joseph Day, he's got a lot of potential, a lot more potential than even what he was playing at the Rams, And
Yep.
now that he's going to be with the Chargers, with the line that we have now, because I don't really know. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't really know the line for the Rams as well as I obviously know the Chargers, whatever. But I know for damn sure that they didn't have Khalil Mack on one side and Joey Bosa on the other. They didn't have that whole the edge pressure going,
right,
to help him, to pull off pressure from him, so he can get through the freaking gaps, and it's gonna be a great year for him too, because there's just so much pressure on the quarterbacks. Like a lot of times, I think last year we probably gave the quarterbacks on average about 5 to 6 seconds to throw the ball, which that's
too much.
That's an eternity.
You need to bake
for
a cake
the NFL.
back there.
You need to
bake a cake, put it in the oven, pull it out.
That's right.
Sprinkle it.
And that's and I remember when we were playing on the playoffs just a couple years ago. Was it 2018? I believe. Where Joey Bosa was frustrated as hell because Brady was getting that ball off within 2 seconds, and he told him, he's hey, stop throwing the ball so fast. He's like, what? He was like, well, stop getting to me so fast.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, that's Tom Brady in a nutshell, though. That's his career, is always get the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds or less.
Yep.
He's a quick thrower.
Yeah.
And with Sebastian Joseph Day, it's an interesting thing because he did come from the Rams, where he has probably one of the best athletes, or one of the top athletes in sports, with Aaron Donald. And now going from having Aaron Donald could help everybody else on that line, but just going to your point, Kyle, we have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, which is criminal to be able to have those two guys on
ridiculous.
the line. I mean, that is insane. If they play to their potential, which statistically they've been basically the same for the last 3-4 years.
They have been. Yep.
They've not, yep.
What is going on here? Now you put Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson on that line too. It will probably be kind of more of a 5-man front, so there's going to be one other person in there. I don't know if it's going to end up being Tillery or not, Fahoko, whomever it might be.
Yeah.
But having him on the line, he's really stepping himself up as a leader. And the one thing I love seeing is a lot of the videos of him talking with all the players, getting them really engaged, making them feel welcome in there too. Morgan Fox coming over and noticing him and saying, hey, man, I didn't know you were there. Let's hang out kind of thing. And he's just got a really good infectious kind of personality. And I think that he could do a very good job. And once again, he won a Super Bowl. That's another guy you want on the line that has done it. Dylan Reeder last year was with the Rams. He won a Super Bowl too. Backfield on top of that, J.C. Jackson, Kyle Van Noy. There's guys that have won Super Bowls on our team in all levels in the defensive side. So it's exciting to see kind of what he could add to this team. And I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. As long as, obviously, we'll go back to the health thing, healthy, please. I think he'll have a breakout season for sure.
Yeah. And to your point, right? So one of the biggest things that, again, Tom Telesco, TT, and also Brandon State talk about is depth, right? We got to have people behind that could step up. And, that's a big part of the conversation. If you don't have people that could step in when injuries happen, and guys, let's not make a mistake about it, right? Injuries will happen. This is an extremely violent sport.
Yep.
That it's not a tickling contest. These guys are out there to hurt each other, right? And
pick a wiggle, pick a wiggle.
Pick a wiggle, dude. Oh my gosh, I love it. No, but to your point, right? The whole Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa thing too. It's just going to make the interior line even better, and you got to man up on people. That right tackle has to one-on-one beat Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack. I'll take that all day.
Yes, and
then or even Kyle Van Noy for that matter, right? So. SJD, man, I could see his upside just being gigantic. And my gosh, I don't know. Let's go to our next guy.
I was going to bring up just one more thing about that position. We really haven't had a guy since Brandon Mebane, like Sebastian Joseph day. So it's been a while since we've had a guy that can really penetrate the line and control the line. And that's one thing I think that Sebastian Joseph day is going to bring is that inside presence to possibly, not saying double team, but really force maybe double teams on him, which then opens up Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack to come in, or Austin Johnson, or whomever it might be.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of penetration to the line, basically, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to add that.
Totally. I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, and one last thought, by the way, we're looking at that. We're still monitoring the chat thread as well too. You guys, thank you so much for adding some content to our stream here as well too. We have a lot of people talking about Vato and some of these other folks. Yeah, I think Vato will have a great season as well too. Now, I will say this: one thing about Sebastian Joseph Day, from all the videos I've seen, everything I've read about him, he is such a good locker room guy.
Yep.
Right? You need players like that are just fun, keep things light, keep things fresh.
Yep.
And he's a performer, right? And that goes a long way, in my opinion, as well too. So, anyways, it's something to keep in mind on that as well too. So it's one of those things where, I think he brings so much, not only talent, but he also brings a good team aspect, and that's a big part of it. With the Chargers this season too. So
yeah, totally.
Yep. Continuity.
Yeah, I like you guys
players that have been in
JT
Staley's system too. So
exactly,
keeping that continuity, easier to plug and play. Probably won't have as much as a learning curve as like a brand new rookie or whatnot. So I think it's a good addition to the team. So all around great.
Yeah, totally.
So let's go to our third pick on the defensive side, right? All right. So all right. So a lot of people keep talking about this guy. I'll introduce him.
This is
Khalil Mack.
It's kind of a surprise there. Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
What?
Khalil Mack.
A breakout year? What do you mean?
Yeah. No, we've already talked about it. We already, we talked about the Iron Maiden, Kyle. You brought that up.
That's
the
right.
Iron Maiden.
The Iron Maiden.
Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack just crunches.
Yeah.
Crunch guy liner week one. You just crunch it.
Dude, how great would that be if we made a T-shirt like that where it's like Bosa and Mack sacking basically Carr, and then just put Iron Maiden.
That's right.
Like that's great.
Oh yeah, no, we can just make like a mock T-shirt of Iron Maiden the band.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be Bosa and Mack. There you go.
Yep. Absolutely, that'd be great. The thing about Khalil that I love about him though is obviously he's been a very high performing player. When he got traded to the Bears, I mean they went to the playoffs and they lost by a double doink basically. And
double doink.
The thing about him, I hit double doink. How it hit the goal and then it doinked at the bottom, and that was it. It was called a double doink.
That's true. That's
what they said.
Yeah.
I think it was Chris Collinsworth. He's like, "It's a double doink." They were like freaking out about it. It was so funny.
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it was so funny. But the thing about it is, like the Bears fans, when he came over, they were like, "Wow, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's getting us to the playoffs. We're going to win the Super Bowl." And then it never happened or anything like that. But he was still highly productive. And Bears as an organization, from what I've been told, have been very like kind of iffy, as in like not wanting to spend. I heard some reports that past like O-line players for the team wanted to coach for him, and they offered him like minimum wage to be a coach, and it was like super random.
What?
But it's an organization. Yeah, it's super weird. I can't remember who it was, but it's a guy that's played on the Bears for like 13 years or something. It was ridiculous. So either way, Khalil Mack is coming. We talked about it earlier. His stats line up a lot with Joey Bosa's.
Yeah.
And so now we got two guys like that on the line that could really do things. Sure, he got injured last year. But even up to that point, he was phenomenal. He was wrecking the line, doing what he needs to do, get sacks, create pressure. He was doing everything I want to do. And some people are like, he's all washed up. He's just injury prone. He's 31 years old. All right, let's go back to Von Miller. Von Miller's 33, right? And what did he get signed to? A huge contract with the Bills at that age.
Right.
When you think like that position's dead, or that's like your past or prime. So I think that's ridiculous that people even say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Mack is an actions speak louder than words kind of guy. And based upon the interviews, he's a very quiet, timid guy.
Right.
But I think he's going to have a phenomenal, huge year for us. I can't wait to watch this Iron Maiden happen. Week 1, Derek Carr.
That's right.
Week 2, Patrick Mahomes. Gonna be great.
I should try.
What's your guys' thoughts about Khalil?
Yeah. 100%, man. I mean, like, just like Sebastian Joseph Day, I don't believe Khalil Mack's ever had a defensive line quite like the one that he has now.
Correct.
Yep.
So I think he may have played a little bit with Max Crosby, which would but that was probably like Max Crosby's early year, so like he probably wasn't all that established as well he is now. Yep. But so I mean, I know he's pretty hyped as well to have like the kind of support that he has now, and so like, man, it's gonna be amazing to see him just going out there and just like wrecking, like because like it's gonna be literally back-to-back sacks. Like I can't wait to see that. Like we're like Khalil Mack gets a sack, Joey Bosa gets a sack, and it's just yes, that's gonna be.
I love it.
See, can't wait. To your guys' point, right? And this is why I think also Khalil Mack needs to be on this list, right? Is that football is the ultimate team sport, right?
Yes.
Because, okay, J.C. Jackson is going to shut down their number one wide receiver. He's done, right?
Yeah.
He's off the list, right? He will not have a great game. He will have an okay game, but he will not have an amazing stat game. Well, then you got to go down the list. Okay, well, who do we throw to next? And that's where we have no holes on any of the cornerbacks, right? But then on the line, when we're rushing 5, you got to go man-to-man, maybe put 2 tight ends on there to chip Bosa and also Mack. Maybe do that, but that also limits how many wide receivers you can put on the field, right?
Yep.
So it's give and take, right? So you can only do so much to try to stop what our defense is going to dictate to their offense, right? And that's what's so great about it, right? Is that you cannot force them to, essentially run their offense that they want to, right? So you have to focus on them. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Running and smudging. I love that, dude. Yeah.
I just read what.
Yeah. Nice job.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think Aether was saying he was talking about Derek Carr will get knocked out in the second quarter. In my prediction.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I'd love to see his bell rung. I would love to see him be a what is that called? A lawn dart. Boom, just stuck in the ground, dude.
Yeah. Just face down, ass up, man. There it is. All day long.
That's a song, son.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's the way we like to sack,
That's right.
Hey, that's another shirt right there. That's another shirt right there. Yeah.
but again, like it's one of those situations where I just think Khalil Mack could have not come to a better place, right? That's the thing that I love about it. He already knows the coaching staff. He already knows the defense. He already knows what he needs to do. He already likes the defensive head coach, which is Brandon Staley. And now he just got to go out there and perform, right? It makes his life simple because, as you already described, the Bears were not putting together a team to be competitive. That's the one thing that I've learned more and more about, obviously football in general. Again, when I say it's a team sport, both sides of the ball, all 3 phases of the game have to be competitive, right? So anyways, I don't want to beat a dead horse with Khalil Mack, but I just see nothing but high upside with him this year. And I just think, oh my God, like, look, he's hungry and he's on a team that can win a championship. I promise you. Look, he's going to feast, and he's going to put 100% effort into this next year. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that for sure.
As long as our defensive line is going to be a massive problem for every team that we play this year.
For any team we play.
Yeah, I mean not just defensive line. Obviously your backfield. So it's just like where we talked about this before in our chats, and dude, where are the holes? Who are you going to throw to? Who are you going to run? Where are you going to run? You can't do nothing. It's
exactly right.
Well, even to say that, the depth of this team is insane.
Yeah.
And then it's like one guy goes to another guy that actually could produce extremely well too. So injuries will happen at some point. You hope it's not going to be anything crazy. But the thing is, though, the depth of this team is pretty ridiculous.
Right.
And so I think it's just going to be an amazing season to watch, which once again, we've said that a million times on our podcast, but I think all Chargers fans are that way right now. So, but I guess we should go to the next guy that we were chatting a little bit about. Actually, we had a little bit of conversation about Kenneth Murray is the other guy we're chatting about.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, once again, like this is like the idea of what we're going to try to run since we don't have a whole heck of a lot of inside linebackers because we really only have like 4 or 5 maybe as an inside linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
4 probably a lock. 3 possibly could be the only inside linebackers of this team because we do talk a little bit about a 5-1-5 kind of defense,
Mm-hmm.
And kind of just move around Derwin. I mean, give him a lot of free range in the defense. And so, but I look at with Kenneth Murray, like last year he was dealing with injuries, had offseason shoulder surgery. Was it not? I think it was shoulder surgery again with him this offseason. But I expect him to come back his rookie year form where he was heavy tackling.
Yes.
He was all over the field, did really, really well. I would like him to see him more as Oklahoma Kenneth Murray, where he attacks the line a lot more and attacks the holes more. Because I felt like Gus Bradley, and I think it was actually on Chargers Weekly, they kind of talked a little bit about, most of these defensive coaches, basically, they tend to be kind of very hybrid as a defense. Yeah. Well, outside of one coach, Gus Bradley.
So, no, they were clowning.
Yeah, that guy's vanilla, dude. He had one play. All right, guys, cover 3.
Yep.
All right, okay, we'll do the same thing.
Same thing over and over.
Not a whole lot of blitzing, none of that stuff. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. It was 4-man blitz every dang time, and like it was just cover zone of some sort. And it was just, dude, awful to watch. Yeah. But that had Khalil Mack running around a lot. I don't think he's really a cover linebacker, in my opinion. He's attacking the line kind of linebacker.
Right.
And so I think that he'll kind of really shape into the linebacker we thought he was. I think it was his first year under Anthony Lynn when they played and we got smoked.
Yeah.
And we always get smoked by the Pats. But he had a fantastic game in that game. And I think he played more to his level of what he should be. And I'm really hoping that he gets to that point. So I'm feeling like Kenneth Murray could have a good leap this season. I'm kind of expecting 100-something tackles, kind of that Kaiser White kind of position. Like Kaiser had a ton of tackles
he did,
last season. He's going to take that position this year. So I think he'll do well.
I was actually thinking the same thing. Like I mean, the only thing that I might be concerned about, of course, is obviously he may be losing some time thanks to like the surgery and this injury that he's got right now. So where he's having to kind of like nurse that injury a little bit. Obviously, last year the injury that he sustained was a lot greater than what we thought it actually was. So we just don't know like how he's going to fare this year because of that. And he may still, I don't know. I hope he'll probably be to full health by the time season starts, which is what, like 60 something days?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, bros, I'm so stoked.
I'm so hyped. It's unbelievable, guys. Like, I mean, we're about 3 weeks away from training camp, aren't we? Right, it's the end of this month, something like that, right?
So month. It's July 27th is the first like open day where people can go watch and stuff. Well, actually, no. Like, I think we're actually like 2 weeks away. Like, we're like the rookies start first. Rookie training camp starts, and then right before that, like it's then the veterans come in. But then after that, it's like, the fans get to show up on Wednesday. And obviously, hey, just shout out to that real quick. Actually, a couple fan events. Yeah, so July 10th, come on out to Mission Bay, man. There's going to be, it's another charity drive. We're putting together backpacks for like kids, for school supplies and things like that. And then July 30th, there's going to be a bunch of things going on after training camp. There's going to be a thing in the parking lot probably at the beginning, but then afterwards, I guess the diehard Bolt Club's going to Hooters for just to meet up. So what better way to have a day of football? Like watching some football, then you get some breasts and chicken. I love it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'm a breast man, guys. I'm a breast man.
I'm a breast man all day. That's right. I love me some chicken breasts. Me too.
Oh my God, we're going to hell, bros. We're going to hell. That's what's happening.
Hey, you know what? You know what they say? You go to heaven for the weather, and you go to hell for the company.
There you go. Hey, just remember what Chris Rock said. You don't go to Hooters for wings, right? That's
right.
exactly right. You don't go to Hooters for the wings.
I remember they were saying, somebody said a joke about Hooters.
Yeah.
And they were saying, why don't they have a delivery service to people's homes, and they would call them knockers.
Oh yeah, call them knockers. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Pretty good name for a business.
Well, I love that. I'd be ordering me some knockers every day.
Some of the
hey, what's up, girl?
Some Bolt babes I met before, like they were saying that they wanted to do a female centric version of that and call it Peckers, to have like a bunch of guys. And it's like Speedos walking around.
Oh my god,
questionable.
Oh my gosh,
anyways, that was a bit sidetracked there, so like, all right.
Well, so I do love what James Richards said. He talked about back in the days we used to call the D-line the Bruise Brothers, and I really like that. We call them the Bruise Bros, dude. The Bruise Bros.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. They call themselves the Blockbuster Boys.
That's right.
Yeah, the Blockbuster Boys.
So,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, but you know what though? But the reason why that's a big thing too is because when Brandon Staley's his defense, the whole point of the defensive line is to break up what that line wants to do for the running game, right? You just get in there, you just get disruptive. You bust the line open, blow the A gap, blow the C gap, blow the B gap up, and you just stop them from doing what they want to do, right? And that's a big part of it, right? So, and look, again, it's going to be the last thing I'll bring up about K9, right? I think K9 can be amazing for us. He has all the talent. He has all the effectiveness that he could be. He just needs to stay healthy. The problem, though, is you got to wonder how many linebackers we got right now. What, 5, right? Amen.
Yep.
K9, Drew Tranquil, Troy Reeder, and technically KVN is technically a linebacker, of course.
Sure.
But he most likely won't line up that way. He's going to be more of an edge rusher, of course. But again, it'll be interesting to see how many are actually going to make the team this year, right? So I get a little stressed out about that because I really like our linebacking core, but that will be very interesting to see. I know we talked about this a lot last week, but it will be interesting to see what it actually breaks down to. So, I think it'll be really interesting. All right, Kyle, you want to give us the our last pick for the defense? And again, anybody we missed, guys, put it in the chat thread. Yeah. Tell us why you like this person. What are we missing? Okay, this is our last of the defense breakout players, but I want to see your thoughts on there as well too. So, Kyle, go ahead and give us our number 5 or our 5th choice.
For sure, yeah, we'll do. And I just wanted to address something real quick from Aether. He just said, hey, before we move on to offense, make sure we answer some of his questions and stuff like that. Like totally.
For sure.
Yeah, I think he was asking something about pick 6 or INT. Which one do you prefer? Pick 6 all day.
Hey, absolutely.
The excitement on that.
True. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, catching that ball and just take it to the house. See you later. I mean,
like Gumby, dude. Like Gumby, he would just go like this. he just move with his legs wouldn't move. Oh, I love that, dude.
Man.
That's right. Heck yeah.
Is that what we're gonna call pick 6s from now? That was like
Gumby, dude. Gumby. We call him Gumby.
He's going Gumby. That's right.
Does anybody know who Gumby is anymore, dude?
Does anybody know who Gumby is? Just in the thread, right? Maybe we're too old for that.
Wait, do I still have my Gumby out? No, I left my Gumby costume back in the day. Dang, I should have shown.
Oh man, I might be Gumby for Halloween this year. That sounds good to me.
Hey, no, I thought you like Poke, man. Why don't you like Poke?
We'll do that. I'll be a Poke Bowl, dude.
You'll be Poke Bowl. No, because his buddy's name is Poke. Yeah.
Poke, yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I like that too. I like that.
So here's the So
drum roll, fifth choice.
Nasir Adderley. So he came in with a couple other players too, right? Because this is his 3rd year with the Chargers, or is it 4th? I can't remember. But obviously, like, he kind of has been a little bit just above average player for the most part. I mean, he's made some big plays here and there. But I really feel like that he's going to be an integral, critical role on the defense this year, and I think he's really going to step up good. And because obviously now, like we've talked about, he has another year under his belt, knowing Staley's like off defense, and because of that, he's going to be able to know and he's been working with Derwin James a lot more, so he's going to be able to go all the way around the field, and he's going to really help out Derwin James a lot. So, I mean, I know we're probably going to keep talking about Nasir Adderley, but I feel the exact same way about JT Woods, though, as a little bonus thing. Yep. I think, both of them combined is going to really just free up Derwin James to be able to really do what he's good at, and that's literally be everywhere, all at once. He's not going to be able to it's going to be really hard to find those holes and those gaps or whatever to throw the ball to, because there's just going to be too much coverage. So I don't know. Yep. That's just my thoughts. I'll just kind of shoot it off to James. What do you think for Nasir Adderley?
Yeah, good call, ERB. You are a fortune teller. Just looking at the chat thread. He got that down.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I kept thinking a lot about JT Woods too, and I have him kind of as a sleeper pick. And now, once again, when we talk about breakout players, I mean, we don't expect them all to be able to go to the Pro Bowl, or we don't expect all that. We just say
correct.
These are guys that are going to really support this team and make this team better, and they're going to elevate their game. Yeah. And so I think with JT Woods added with Nasir Adderley, my big thing about Nasir is that he's in his last year of contract. And a lot of players, when they play in their last year of the contract, they tend to play at a super high level, and then they try to get a massive contract somewhere. Right. And I know there was some articles talking about that. If they think that that's going to happen with Nas, that he's probably going to end up walking. That's, I think, why we have JT Woods also too on the team too, and why we drafted him to be in the system if we're going to move on from Nas. But I think he's going to have a good, solid year. He's always kind of been so close to getting a lot of picks each year.
Yes, he has.
Sure. Yeah, always so close. And so I think now just the way this defense is set up, there's going to be a lot of sack fumbles, batted passes that are going to end up flying into somebody's hands. I think that with Nas, he's going to be able to actually get some of these picks, and with the pressure in front, with the electric fence, or the Bruise Brothers,
or the Blockbusters,
or whoever we want to call it,
the
Blockbusters, whoever their name is, they're just going to create a lot of chaos, which will create basically turnovers. And I think Nas will be a big beneficiary of it this year. So, what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, no, I think, and I'm just putting in the thread that yes, Nas is going to have a big year. Here's the thing. Brandon Staley specifically has talked about him quite a bit, and a lot of people are saying that he stepped up and he's looking really good at OTAs and obviously everything that we've seen so far. Again, this is also his contract year. Last year was contract, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
If he wants to stay in the league, he's got to start producing, right? Yep. And so
the big thing.
Usually the last year contract usually means people step up. Now, it also means, we have a big, difficult decision to make, right? Let's say he has his breakout year that we are predicting.
Yep.
As everyone, I think, also in the chat thread is even predicting, I think he'll do very well. But can we afford him moving forward, right? So, and I think that's also why Brandon Staley has done such a good job of bringing so many defensive backs in general that could potentially step in if we can't re-sign Nas, right? So, but I do think he's one of the guys that a lot of people are talking about to potentially have an amazing year. And so I'm just excited to see what he can do. Look, to your point, and again, another person we didn't bring up here is Alola Gilman, right? Gilman, I think, could be very good as well, too. But Nas, I think, will do very well. It's an important year for him to be successful. And he needs to show the league that he can step to the next level and win that big contract, right? So, I think he'll do well.
Sure. Yep. I mean, and this is his fourth year, and as a second-round pick, generally they only have a 4-year contract. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Nwasu. And how he basically had 4 years with us, and then he ended up getting let go at that point. So this is it'll be an interesting season for him. And, I think that the other guy that I keep thinking about is, maybe my X Factor guy about the defense is a breakout coach. Can I say that? Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
For sure.
This is his
Coach
defense, and he's built up a lot. I mean, he could definitely be coach of the year this year if things really go well. I mean, there's a side to me. I know we did predictions of records. there's a side where I keep thinking 14-3 is a total possible record with this team.
Yeah.
And so things are kind of shifting around now. Once again, we're a paper team right now.
That's right.
Complete paper
team. Paper team.
But it looks good on paper. That's for dang sure.
Right.
But I think Brandon Staley could have a big breakout season that it could shut up a lot of haters. Like, I know there's a lot of people that bag on him about the fourth down, choices last year. Hey, man,
man.
I'll tell you what.
Go for
it. Big Ball Staley's making his moves, and he knew. And the thing is, though, I was thinking about this the year before, 2020 year with Justin Herbert. There was so many times I'm like, stop kicking the field goal because it didn't work ever.
Yep.
Just put it in Justin Herbert's hands.
Yes.
And later on in the season, they kept doing that. Like the game against the Raiders, where Herbert ran it in. He's like, I was in, and then they won the game or whatever.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, I think Lynn started realizing, well, special teams ain't working, so let's just go ahead and just give it to the guy who is probably our best player on the field. I think Brandon Staley brought that same mentality this year that, hey, our defense is really not as good as I thought it was going to be. Let's keep it in our best player's hands. And that's why he on his fourth down.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if he did it again this season with a defense that he knows, even if they go for a fourth, don't get it, the defense could do a great job of stopping them too.
Yeah.
So there is a double-edged sword to that, because that could mean, well, you could give up another touchdown or a field goal or whatever.
Sure.
I get it. But I think I'd have no problem if he continues to do it. And I guarantee he's going to do it. If he doesn't do it week 1, he'll do it on week 2 against the Chiefs, because that's how he pitched the Chargers and the Spanoses of how to beat the Chiefs and to go for it on fourth down and be very aggressive. So,
well, I mean,
that's just a defense X factor there, in my opinion.
I know. I think it's a solid thing, though, because like the truth is, like, I don't see any reason why Chargers or any team should ever really go for the field goal when they are, in the other team's territory. Like, especially at this point. Like, I mean, I love field goals. Don't get me wrong, because like there is a potential that when we go further down the line, that maybe that is another breakout player that we might want to talk about, but because the realistic thing is that field goals do win championships, because like special teams is that important, because that is literally the difference of a game, is that 3 points, from especially the 55 yards out, and so obviously you got to make sure that you have a good kicker, but we haven't had a good for the past 8 years, 8 seasons or something. I mean, who was the last good kicker that we had? I mean, geez,
Well, I will say this: Koo is ranked one of the 4th best kickers in the league right now, and we let him go. I mean, and but I will say this, and I know we're getting a bit off topic with specifically the kicking and special teams, and we do have one person in special teams we want to talk about before we go to offense. But again, it is important. The thing that I've seen differently is Brandon Staley brought in better coaches, right? Anthony Lynn did not have a good coaching staff, right? No. I think he kept a lot of players there, a lot of, legacy coaches that had very legacy ideas, right? At least Brandon Staley's bringing in different ideas and approaching things in a more aggressive / statistical way, right? He's using analytics in a different way, right? So it's kind of going back to the whole Moneyball conversation in baseball. It's very different, of course, but he's looking at statistics and saying, all right, these numbers say we do this, these numbers say we do that, and using more of a statistical approach on what we need to do moving forward. So I find that very interesting. Anthony Lynn is obviously not that guy. But let's talk about one guy on special teams that we think is going to have a breakout year, and then we'll move on to the offense, guys. So we do think that J.K. Scott is going to have a great breakout year, right? We talk about special teams. I think there was some questions around Ty Long. He had a couple blocked punts last year. He had this long windup, wasn't really getting a lot of distance. So, again, it boils down to analytics and statistics, right? Okay, well, the guy can kick it 30 yards or 40 yards. Does it really make sense, or would you rather leave it in someone like Justin Herbert's hand to make the first down? It's only 5 yards, right? So I think there was a lot of reasons why we went for it on fourth a lot last year. I don't know that we're going to lead the league this next year, but with a punter like J.K. Scott, which, by the way, everyone seems extremely hyped on.
Yeah.
He's a tall guy, about the same height as Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And, I've heard nothing but good things about him. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Then we'll move to the offense, guys. And in chat, please tell us, who do you think will be better, J.K. Scott or Hopkins this next year, right? Or maybe somebody else.
Yeah, and it's always just kind of an interesting thing talking about kickers. And, it's not one of those like hot topics to talk about, but it makes a difference in a game.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
All the hype seems to be that like J.K. Scott's been a great teammate added to this team, great element added to the kicking game, based upon what they were kind of talking about Chargers Weekly this week. So there's only been really good high marks about the guy. And the thing is, though, he was with the Packers for 3 years. He seemed to do pretty well, averaged roughly about 45-ish per kick. Did have some longs around 67, 66 yards, 62 for him. So he did a pretty good job. Like, I mean, he looks like he's only had 2 blocked punts in his career too. So he's got probably a lot more quicker of a release, quicker stroke to get to the ball. So I think, I don't know, we'll see how it ends up going with him, but it seems like he's pretty good. It looks like there's been a ton of his kicks kind of landing in the 22. So kind of that's in that kind of getting into that zone is kind of the key. Obviously, to get to closest to the goal line is even better. But either way, I'm excited to see how he goes. I mean, I'm sure he'll be pretty heavy on the preseason, and he'll be punting balls around, so we can get really good eyes on it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Totally, absolutely. But at the same time, it's that I don't think that we're gonna punt it still that very very often at all. I mean, it's great that we got a good punter and we can rely on him. And he's tall. He's got a freaking boot, and he's got like freaking catapult for legs, So, I just don't think that we're still gonna punt that often. Like we'll maybe do maybe 3 punts a game at the most. Because I guess to segue into the offense or whatever, because our offense is gonna be amazing. We're gonna convert first downs to first downs and second downs to first downs. I don't even know if we're gonna see third and fourth downs very often this year. And when we do get to that point, we're still gonna go for it. So it's like it's not gonna be a big difference, So
all gas, no brakes.
All
dude.
gas,
all
no
gas,
brakes.
no brakes.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. All gas, no brakes.
That's right. No lube.
Yeah. Or is it all ass, no brakes? That's on my dating profile. No big deal. That's cool.
Like it's no lube, all turf. Yeah.
Oh, no lube, all turf. Oh God, here we go.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, but that's a good segue into the offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should talk about. All right, and guys, again, in the chat, please tell us who you think offensively are going to be some very big breakout players for this next year. The first one we're going to bring up, I'll bring this one up. Herbie's going to be our guy, dude.
1,000%.
Again, I'm putting money on him being the MVP this year. Obviously, we're going to win the division. Look, here's the thing. We could talk about Herbert all day, but here's the thing. It's the second year in the same offense. I think he understands the offense better. I think there's going to be some audibles. He'll definitely be ready to go. Last year, it was very clear he didn't audible hardly at all. I think this year there'll definitely be some switch ups, as they go, which I think makes a difference, right? He will be really the offensive coordinator on the field. Again, there's some arguments back and forth. I remember seeing a lot of people talk about how Joe Lombardi he coached really good games and then he called really bad games, right? He was a little inconsistent, but it was also his first year being that coach, right? So what'll probably happen, this is my prediction, they'll probably have a run play and a pass play. And then Herbert will get to choose, okay, do we want to run it or do we want to pass it?
Yeah.
Or he's going to call 2 plays in the huddle, and then he'll say, great, it's the same formation, but then he can audible to the run play from what he sees once the line sets up against the offense. So, I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. And I think the coaches have a little bit more, belief in Justin Herbert. Obviously, everyone believes in Justin Herbert, but the fact that he understands the offense better, he'll make better choices. So, let's pass it on to you guys. And again, chat, what do you guys think about Justin Herbert? And, what do you think moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a softball answer to say a breakout player is Justin Herbert, but the thing about it is like he is the real deal. And I think this is the elevation and the point of Justin Herbert's career that's going to put him at that upper tier level. And people are already putting him at like top 3 quarterback, top 5. They're already putting him in that position because they know what he's doing. I mean, what he's done in the first 2 years has never been done by a 2-year quarterback.
Right.
And so this guy only has the ability to grow even more. If he wins MVP in his 3rd year, obviously that means that he gets to the playoffs too. I think it was criminal that Justin Herbert was not in the playoffs last year.
For sure.
It was absolutely like a disservice to the NFL, in my opinion. Now, once again, it's not a chosen situation of you're going to the playoffs. You still have to perform to get to the playoffs. But, I mean, the thing is, this year will be exciting. How cool would it have been if we beat the Raiders? And I wasn't sure of the bracketing, but if it was that we actually ended up playing the Bengals last season.
Oh my gosh.
What would that game been? Because I mean, before we blew them out.
We beat the Bengals already.
Yeah,
yep.
We smoked them. And so would the Bengals have gotten to the Super Bowl? It would have already been a one playoff bounce kind of situation again for them as an organization. So I don't know, Justin Herbert, I just can't wait. I want to see him in the playoffs this year. I want to see minimum AFC championship game. And then I want a Super Bowl win.
Yep. Yeah. It's
baby.
This is the
Yep. So.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm actually very curious about that too. I was like, I couldn't remember. I think our first game would have been against the Bills. Actually, I think we were slated to go against the Bills or the Titans or something like that. I think.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole setup of what it was. I mean, it was a while ago, and obviously.
So, but obviously. I think it would have been a better service for the entire NFL if we tied that game.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
If that passes,
it would have been weird too, right?
Yeah,
everyone would have felt like, "Oh wow, how crazy would that have been?"
That would have been so good. I mean, I guess it's good that Ben Roethlisberger got his final career game. He got to go to the playoffs the last time. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Okay, fine, whatever. But anyways, but yeah, it's really hard to not put Justin Herbert in this thing. But then again, I mean, how can he break out further from what he did last year? Over 5,000 yards. Is he going to get 6,000 yards this season?
That ain't gonna happen.
Is he gonna have 50 touchdowns? It's like,
I mean, didn't Tom Brady have like 5,500 passing yards or something like that? Crazy last season?
It was like just barely more than Justin Herbert. I think he was like total yards. I think he was just underneath it. So
yeah.
I mean, but I mean, look, it's. Justin Herbert and Tom Brady are still not on the same level. I'm going to be controversial on that. Justin Herbert can get to that level of Tom Brady. We just need to get him to be our first franchise quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And then once that happens, it's going to be like freaking blood in the water. Justin Herbert is a dang shark. He's going to be on a frenzy of freaking Super Bowl rings. He's going to have one for every finger. And, he's just going to be like freaking like Thanos with the Infinity Stones and just freaking snap all these people out of existence. Like Derek Carr, you ain't doing nothing. The AFC West is AFC Herbert. That's what it is.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, think about if, and for a quarterback to get to 6,000 yards would take every single game on average 353 yards a game. Yeah. I mean, think of how gnarly that would be. Like as a fantasy side of thing. Like that would be, dude, he would be pick of the century at that point. And 40 plus touchdowns. I mean, it would be a ridiculous situation. Who knows? But we love Justin Herbert. I can't wait. I mean, I got the Herbie jersey over here.
Herbie jersey. I should have worn my Herbie jersey today. Yeah, I should have done that.
I just got to go hang out by the stadium, so I can just find Justin Herbert and have him marry me,
Whoa!
Hey man, hey, I'm just saying, if I'm gonna go that route, that's the way I want to do it.
Okay, jeez. All right.
Yeah, but he's ain't a hot reporter, Kyle. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Oh,
that's
reporter, right?
Hey, you know what? Hey, we could have a 3-way. It's all good.
This is going off the rails.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So James, why don't you give us the second one for the offense here?
So, there's not many rookies that you can really kind of point out to, but I think that Isaiah Spiller has a great chance to be a really good, solid player. And now, once again, with him, Isaiah Spiller being RB2, and I expect him to be RB2. And what he does, as in, catching the ball, running the ball, and really stabilizing that RB2 position for us. I think that's really why I feel he's a breakout player for us. And it's stats-wise, I don't really know what it's going to be. I think somebody asked a question in one of our other videos is who's going to have more yards, Isaiah Spiller for running, or who's going to have more rushing yards, Isaiah Spiller or Austin Eckler? And that's a tough question because I think there's going to be a really 50-50 potential on those two players. But I think Isaiah Spiller is going to do a great job, great compliment to Eckler, running catch, very patient runner. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. Just to really, why I say breakout player, he'll stabilize the RB2 position because that has been an issue for us for years. So he's our man. Third time's a charm of drafting a running back, I think, in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
I think he'll be our stable point, finally. So,
yes. Yeah.
What's your
well,
thoughts?
and one other thought on that too, right? The thing about Isaiah Spiller is he, again, we talked about this a little bit last week, and he had a really bad offensive line in college, right? And again, if this line can do what we think it can do this year, it will really prove that, again, it will make a huge difference in production, right? Getting those 3 or 4 tough yards will do very well. And he's a bigger body than Eckler. And Eckler's been very clear. Look, I don't want all these touches, right? Because he knows he has a smaller body. Like, he's a smaller guy. He's a little bit more of a scat back or a Sproles type of guy, right? He knows he can't take a lot of direct hits. Even guys, even LT, LT never really took a hard hit. He never did. He always kind of went down, he did a little dive or whatever. And Eckler does about the same thing, but he kind of knows that if he keeps taking these hard hits, he's not going to survive in the league, right? And as Chargers and Charger fans, we want them on the field, right? They're our best choice. So I'm okay with them taking a few less hits. But again, you spread it out with Isaiah Spiller, a little bigger body. Yeah. Life is good. But I do think they'll probably split touches, right? Because I do think Eckler does not want to take all that damage on his body. So I think he's going to have a great, a good 1-2 punch. And you never know. We may see Roundtree with a couple of touches this year too. That could happen as well too. So we'll see what happens with that.
But I'll say this though too, is that like the thing that I like the most is that when Eckler actually did show up to minicamp, and when he was talking to media, he was like saying, "Look, I don't want a RB2 just to go out there and give me a breather or whatever. I want him to go out there and finish what I started, and to go out there and produce as much as I wanted, like I was producing, and to keep that momentum going." And not, and he wants them to challenge him for RB1 too, because he knows he's RB1 and he's got that position on lock. And, he's so confident that in his own abilities that, hey, you know what? If you can beat out me or at least challenge me, then you're going to earn that RB2 spot. And, in that, I think honestly right now, Isaiah Spiller might have the best chance. Obviously, we'll find out in training camp. Looking forward to seeing all that, how that happens, But I can see Isaiah Spiller absolutely getting 900 yards this season if he's able to do that. Because obviously we haven't really seen that production from Roundtree or Joshua Kelly, but Roundtree might be on that second-year slump. Joshua Kelly kind of had his slump last year, so we'll see what happens. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having 4 running backs, right? I know there was a couple of undrafted running backs that we got as well, too, that could be interesting to see what happens with them. But I will say this, I do think 4 running backs is a good thing because it's a tough position. Guys, that position in the NFL is one of the hardest positions to continue playing, right? So you need a stable of horses that can take touches and take carries. And, again, it kind of goes into what we talked about with Justin Herbert, passing. He's got to be able to pass out, right? I would love to see, again, we've talked about this so many times. I would love to see a bunch of 2 running back sets where you got 2 running backs in the back, and they just both run to the side. What do you do in a defense at that point, right? Everyone clears out. Okay, which way do I go, right or left? And you split the linebackers. There's not much they can do about it, right? It's a matchup problem, right? So, again, obviously the offense is going to try and dictate what the defense has to do. But Isaiah Spiller's a big pick for everybody.
Yep.
Okay, so Kyle, why don't you give us our third pick on the offensive side? I know you got a cool name for this guy. So, what's your thoughts on breakout player?
We got a breakout player. He's big, he's new, and he is the great, the one, the only Mount Zion. Mount Zion Johnson, dude, this guy, he was absolutely obviously he was a sleeper pick for first round, except for Herb. He was the only one that actually predicted it. But as he likes to say, he was picking the first number one offensive guard in the draft is better than picking the ranked fourth tackle on the draft.
It's a good point.
Right.
It's a really good point.
Great point.
Good point, Herb.
Yeah, and so and obviously our right side was kind of trash last year. So I mean, it wasn't kind of trash; it was trash. Let's just be real. And now we got this guy Zion Johnson, who, like, honestly, he's a massive dude, and he's super smart, and he was like a computer science engineer, So, like, I mean, he's gonna cybersecurity, yeah. So he's gonna he's gonna be able to figure out stuff really fast, and he's gonna be able to make an immediate impact to that offensive line on the right side, absolutely right away. Hey, I don't even know. He might even help out the right tackle position a lot significantly by maybe just making that like whole side better. Because in a lot of ways, because that's kind of what I feel like is going on with the left side too. Like, I feel like Matt Filer has been a huge help to Rashawn Slater. Giving him that little veterancy, of course. I mean, Zion doesn't have the veterancy behind his back and the experience to kind of guide the right tackle position a little bit, but it's gonna be he's gonna be a force, an unstoppable mountain that people need to climb in order to get over that. I haven't done a whole lot of research, and I just kind of want to figure out who he's gonna be mashing up against. And when we go further down the line. But I think his matchups are all very favorable. I mean, yes, he's going to probably face off against Max Crosby and from time to time going against that gap there. But for the most part, he's going to be in pretty good shape on that right side. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So all right, well, that's my thoughts. Yeah. Go ahead and spin it back to you, James.
Yeah, with Zion, to me, I look at him as very much a plug and play player. And then even has been called as an all-rookie team for 2022. So there's a lot of high hopes for the guy. And you made a great point. I'd much rather get basically the number one offensive guard versus basically the number 3-4 right tackle in the draft. And I think that was a very smart choice. It's not the flashiest of choice, but at the same side, it stabilizes our line further and further. So that's really a big, big thing for us. And the thing is, though, he's going to have Corey Lindsay to his left, too. And so he's going to have a guy that's a Pro Bowl player on his left that's going to be able to help guide him a bit, too. So I think it's just – I'm excited to be able to see Zion out there and see what he could do. And, I mean, Odeo Bushi did a fantastic job for us last year up till he got injured. And I felt like our line was phenomenal. I think at that time that he got injured was in the Browns game, which I think was the fourth game of the season.
Mm-hmm. That game was crazy, too.
That game was – woo-wee. I mean, man. That thing
unbelievable.
Was insane.
Right?
So, I mean – O'Day was doing great, and it's just then it became Michael Schofield, who came out of retirement essentially to play for us.
Yeah, which is a depth problem, right? Like, he was all right, but not great.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully Mount Zion will basically stabilize that right side and really do well with that. So I'm excited to be able to see him out there and bulldozing and pancaking people. That'd be great.
So, a lot of people keep talking about Zion could eventually step in and be our center moving forward. Corey Lindsay moves on, wants a bunch of money because obviously he's a Pro Bowler, and he's arguably one of the best centers in the league, right? So I think, Mount Zion could eventually step in and be that center running the line. He's that smart, right? And I think it's a big part of what a line needs to be, right? And eventually there comes a point where he could be that guy. And Look, I think he's going to be fantastic. I think no matter what, he will at least stabilize that right side a little more and stop the blitz up the middle, right, as much as possible.
Yeah.
And he'll also help in the run game, right, getting people off their blocks and moving big bodies. Dude, that guy has got the biggest arms. I remember seeing, I was like, whoa, dude, those are huge.
Hey, dude,
I mean,
that got thighs and buys, baby. You know.
I mean, dude, they're like tree trunks. I'm like, what am I looking at here, dude?
Yeah.
All right. Well, James. Okay. So how about this? Why don't we go to our fourth pick on the offensive side there? I think.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we go with
sticking with another O lineman? Right. This one I've been on that train for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and I went on this even kind of late last season, thinking like, dude, why is he not out there? And he's statistically PFF ranking has been fantastic, and he's done well. I mean, I think even the chat already kind of knows who we're chatting about, because I think it was James that was chatting about.
I think it was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's been working out with Slater, but Trey Pipkins, like, there's a lot of big things about him, and talking over, and actually even Chargers Weekly chatted about it this week, saying like, hey, you know, like, I don't see us going with Storm Norton and keeping him at that right tackle. It all signs just really seem like Trey Pipkins is filling his body out right. He's doing the right things. And to be honest, like, there's a point of like, I think it is last year of his contract too, that, you know what, this is do or die time for him.
Yeah.
Make a stance, make a point, because NFL stands for not for long.
That's right.
And a lot of these guys don't have a long careers. And so if this is his chance, this is his one chance to take over that position and stabilize that right side. This is the time now. And I think he's putting all the chips on the table, and I think he's just going out there and doing the extra work. And
and that goes a long way, guys, right? If we think about it, in this job, you need to show that you're showing up. Make one of the guys we were going to talk about on the offense, he's on our list, is Guyton, Justin Guyton, right? He came back with a bigger body.
Yeah.
So did Pipkins. Pipkins came back. He put on some mass. He's going to be effective. And I remember, guys. Remember last year when, again, Rashawn Slater went down and obviously Storm Norton went down. He played on the left side and the right side last year, and he did well, right? So I think it's his year to take that spot. Now, I will say this, one last caveat on this, and we may have a little short or reel on this next week, right, on some other right tackle people we may target in free agency moving down. It will boil down to how he does in training camp, right?
Yep.
Can he prove that he can stop Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack? I promise you they're going to move them around. All right, and Kyle Van Noy, can you stop him? If you cannot, and the coaching staff look at him and says, all right, he doesn't do a good enough job, or he's not a bigger step up from Storm Norton, then they probably will go after another right tackle. They may go after Darrell Williams or some of the other folks that are out there in free agency. But look, I think it's his. Everything I've read and everything I've seen, everything people have talked about, I think it's his position to lose at this point, right?
Yep.
Having said that, he can lose it if he steps up or he doesn't step up properly and doesn't step up the right way, right? So that's my thoughts on it. Kyle, you got any thoughts on that as well?
Camp. It's all about the camp, dude.
Exactly right. Yep.
So I was gonna say, I absolutely love Trey Pipkins for this year. The only thing is though too, like we only saw one game for him at right tackle, and he did amazing at it, you know. And it was against Denver. Denver was hot garbage though, so it was a very good opportunity for him to actually learn or do that side. But the best part about him is, of course, that he was, he's been practicing with the Merriweather thing and with Rashawn Slater. And he's in that same boat as Nasir Adderley. Like, they were drafted the same year. So, obviously he's got to make something happen. Because if he wants to actually continue to play in football, he needs to actually show up and turn up, and light the freaking doors up. You know what I'm saying?
This guy.
I'm on one today, boys. I'm
yes, you are.
I'm in rare form.
yeah, for sure. And I agree. One last thought, and then we'll move on to our final choice, and then we'll wrap up, guys. It's interesting. I think you're right. Trey Pipkins really is the guy, right? Until he proves that he's not. If he proves that he's not, then they will go after a person, I promise you, and they will pay the big bucks. I think right now they're trying not to pay the big bucks because they want to lock up DJ. They want to eventually lock up Herbert. They want to keep that salary cap open. Because why go get Darrell Williams, who's going to cost a bunch of money, if you think you can get enough out of Trey Pipkins, right? So, and even Storm Norton for that matter, right? Or Sawyer, right? Sawyer could step up as well. I mean, that guy's a big body, man. That guy could do it. So, I think we got enough players that we can move around. But yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to give the last one, and then we'll wrap up. And guys, and this was our last one. So after we do this, again, if you've got some other folks you want us to talk about on offense and defense, go put it in the chat thread. So our last one is Joshua Palmer. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. He's our wide receiver 3. I also think there's going to be a lot of games with blowing out teams that, you know what, we're going to get junk yardage, right? And I think that junk yardage will probably go to Palmer and Guyton. That's why I think both of those guys will have great years. But I think Palmer is going to have a better year. Everything I've seen about him, he just is ready to go. He understands the offense. And it's weird. I remember when Telesco and Staley drafted him, he was it third round? Is that where he was picked up at? I can't remember exactly, just off the top of my head.
Third or fourth? I think it was.
Yeah, it was third or fourth. And I remember
think it was fourth because it was Trey McKitty in the same.
That's right, it was McKitty. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm just going off the top of my head, guys. So I apologize if I'm wrong, but the thing about it is again, he was underrated. He did a great job. Obviously, we're trying to throw to Allen and Williams, but at the end of the day, I will say this: Palmer has all the talent, and when he was at Tennessee, he did not have a quarterback to throw at him, right?
Yeah.
So he could not perform well there. So, anyways, very interesting.
It with Josh Palmer, man, like I just felt like he did a great job late in the season, and he seems to do a really good job with contested catches too.
Yes, he did. Yep.
I think he did a fantastic job with that. So I think it's interesting because some people are talking a little bit about like even kind of taking the slot position with Josh Palmer and having him a lot more in the slot than anything. I think he's kind of more, and I want to say it might have been Chargers Weekly who were talking about that he might be more of a downfield kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that would be awesome to be able to have another guy out there too. But my hopes, I think Josh Palmer is really getting more familiar with this offense. And going back to, Justin Herbert, this is the first time in like I don't even know how many years that he's actually had the same offense and continuity with the players around him too.
Right.
In college, it was always adjusting for him. Head coaches, offensive coordinators, it was shifting all the time. Now this is his first year in the NFL that actually has a consistent offensive coordinator, consistent players around him.
Right.
That's why Justin Herbert will elevate. That's why I think Josh Palmer is now really locked in because he's understanding the system now. I think Lombardi's kind of getting everybody a little bit more smoothed over in what he's asking for through the offense. And I think everybody's just going to elevate their game all around. So, and on top of that, I'm hoping Josh Palmer does well because I have a couple signed rookie cards from him. So, Let's keep it going.
Let's keep that going. Hey, you're not shilling a little, just a little bit there. It's like, I mean, the only problem that I can see from this whole thing is that we just signed Mike Williams, and we still obviously have Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is approaching his rookie contract deal. So. Or not rookie contract. What am I even saying? Like the end of his contract deal.
Yes,
so,
correct. Yep.
So he obviously still wants to show up, and receivers can actually play in the league for a very long time. So, but yeah, so I'm like, okay, so you got Keenan Allen out there in the slot probably, then you got Mike Williams on the edge, and then it's gonna really be a toss up between Guyton and Palmer. I mean, the biggest thing is though too, everyone Palmer's getting a ton of praise out there. From other players, from the coaches, and so he could actually absolutely step up and actually take over that wide receiver WR3 position. But I mean that's going to be the whole thing. It depends on like what sets we're going to see. I mean, obviously if we see that 4 wide receiver packages out there, then he's going to be one of the guys. But remember, guys, we also have really good tight ends out there, so we might not.
I was actually just going to bring that up too.
So, because there's my bonus person is like I feel like Trey McKitty could even have a big year as far as like offensive passing situations because hey, he's out there. Shoot, I mean, it's on the offense. It's kind of hard to really say who and who will not be out there and have a breakout year because Justin Herbert's going to throw the dang ball all day long, and we're going to see a lot of different people getting a lot of different touches. So,
exactly correct.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a cornerback one, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to try and shut down Williams, right? They're gonna, Mike Williams. They're going to try and shut down Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
But look, my sleeper pick on the offense would be Gerald Everett, right? I think Everett's going to have a great season, right?
Yeah.
I think he's a freak of nature. He's an athlete. He'll do very well, and I think he does well. And Parham's another great person, right? Parham will have a great season. This is one thing that so let's just wrap up here, guys. And I know when we talk about the offense and defense, we can talk about this all day. We literally talk about this all day. You guys, you have no idea how often we are just texting all day. We're showing each other, articles we're seeing, videos we see, and we talk about this stuff all the time. And so, again, DeAndre Carter is another person that I think could have a great season, right? So the cool thing about the Chargers, and this is my last thought about this season, depth. We talk about it all the time. We have so much depth. I really feel like our coaching staff thinks we have enough depth to make a Super Bowl run this year.
Yep.
And I don't disagree with them, right? We've never had anything like this. I mean, I just bought look, I love Phil Rivers, but we never put a team around him to really give him what he needed. And that's the sad part about it. We had 1 or 2 good years, but I will say this. We have depth finally, and we are moving the right direction. So, maybe James, Kyle, and the chat, give us your last thoughts before we end the video.
Yeah, and I always go back to this, and the depth is the key element and kind of the theme of the offseason for us. And we've done a fantastic job. I mean, I remember some fans of other teams talking to me about it, and they're like, the salary cap doesn't seem to be able to be a factor for the Chargers because they just keep signing people.
Yep,
and
for sure.
Keep just adding layers and layers and layers to this team. And so I go back to when Brandon Staley, and I said it a lot too, that we have a championship caliber quarterback. Just the defense needs to find a way to be able to catch up to that.
Yeah.
And the offense really didn't change too much. No, but we basically have a defense that I think could catch up to that championship level.
Exactly correct. Yep.
And so, going back earlier when we were talking about the defense, there was a lot of guys that have won Super Bowls at every single one of these levels in the defense.
Yep.
So
exactly right.
There's guys that are leaders out there that have been there and done that and succeeded. So I think that just going into talking about these breakout players, I mean, I'm not saying they're all going to the Pro Bowl, but I'm just saying, hey, they're going to do better this year because I think we're going to all around as a team be more championship level.
Again, it's a team sport too. It's a team sport. Everyone around you, if you're doing your job, it makes things easier, and everyone will look better. That's exactly our point, right? So,
yeah.
Kyle,
so
last thoughts?
Well, I also do want to address what Herb is just saying here too. We still have to make our total predictions on what our sacks and interceptions are for this year. That's a tough one, boys. I mean, I could easily see 10 for Bosa, 10 for Khalil, and maybe 5 for Kyle Van Noy, and maybe 2 to 3 for the offensive line. So I'm gonna say about 28 sacks on the year, and then wait, that's probably
that's pretty low in my opinion.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You know what?
That's
Hey,
really
I'm trying to be. Hey, this is the Price is Right, baby. You can't overbid. You got to underbid it. It's like
$1, $1.
1 sec. And then as far as interceptions, tough one too. I feel like we'll probably get like 5 out of J.C. Jackson and maybe like 4 out of Derwin James and maybe like 2 out of Nas. And probably 2 out of Bryce Callahan or something like that. So I don't even shoot. I can't even.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Bryce Callahan.
See, that's another breakout player right there, dude. Oh my gosh,
dude! If he can stay healthy, who knows, man?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'll say this: sacks. I say we're going to be about 45. That's a lot of sacks, though, guys. That's a lot of sacks.
That's sacks on stacks, baby.
But here's the thing, though. I think there's going to be a lot of strip sacks. I think there's going to be a lot of fumbles, forced fumbles, things like that. So I'm kind of adding that together. And then I would say we got about 25 picks, which is crazy, guys. And if that happened, I mean, that is extremely high projections. But here's my point. We do that, there is no chance that any team's going to beat us. Like, we're going to smoke fools, So,
I mean, the thing is, though, like, I was looking at it like 3 sacks a game, which that breaks down to 51 sacks a game. And I was like, does 3 sound like too high? But like,
no,
it doesn't seem like it's that like high, in my opinion. I think he's like, maybe I'm high. I don't know, but
Hey, well, that's actually funny. They a lot of people are petitioning to call our defensive package the high five. Because if we're gonna go, like that, it's like, hey, there you go, high five, baby, high five,
high five. Yeah. But as for picks, I mean, I'd say probably 20 as a team. I'd probably say 20. That seems about right, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's
like,
fair.
I mean, obviously we got Mr. INT with J.C. Jackson, but I don't think he's going to have nearly as many picks because I don't think they're going to pick on him at all.
Well, actually, I think there might be more picks than what I would kind of like go over on, though, because I mean, yes, the quality of quarterbacks that we have in the AFC West is greater than the quality quarterbacks in the AFC East and who they played against this past couple of years. But the problem is that there's going to be so much pressure on the quarterback at that front line that they're going to be making mistakes. They're going to throw little like ducks in the air and stuff, and things are just going to be like, just like little high fly things. So
hit passes to from the defensive line, all these different things.
So there's going to be a ton of opportunities. Hey, what about fumbles too? Like, I mean, I think we'll be able to have like in the teens as far as forced fumbles going, because of all that that pressure and different things going on like that. So it's going to be amazing, man. Like, overall, I think, people are saying there's going to be a ton of interceptions. I mean, but turnovers are the big things that I want to see, like not just interceptions.
Sure. Forced fumbles matter too, right?
Yes.
They always talk about slapping the ball, getting it out of other people's hands.
Punching it, getting in there, So.
I think Aether was asking about an answer about top 3 offense or top 3 defense. I think we can make both of that happen.
I think we'll be top 5
totally
with both.
Possible.
Yeah,
that will be top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Top 3. I mean, it's possible. I mean, this is going to be interesting. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, 2007 we had top defense, top offense in the league, and we still lost. So but hey, that's the past. Those are the San Diego.
That's exactly
Chargers.
right.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Los Angeles Chargers.
One thing I'll say is, you know what? We got nothing but excitement for the Chargers, and I think. I'm so excited to see what we do this next year, right? Training camp is going to really formulate our team. We'll get a better idea. And again, we're going to give you as much information as we can. Off season, thank you for listening in, and again, rate, review, subscribe, put your comments in the chat. We'd love to see what you guys say. Other thoughts we need to correct. If there's things that we said incorrectly, correct us, guys, because again, we're here to engage with you. Look, at the end of the day, comments are excellent. We read them all. We love engaging with you folks, right? So, and we're just excited. Again, as you guys know, I'm Andrew, again, with my co-hosts, James and Kyle.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I say, thanks for listening. Bolt Bros, bolt up. We out of here.
Woo woo.
Let's roll. We out.
Let's go.